Hey folks, and welcome to the finale of Comic Zone. Like I mentioned in the last part, it's a pretty short game, so I'm knocking it out in two parts. And here we go, it's the final episode, Episode 3, Curse of the Dead Ships. Let's see what's going on in the dried up sea surface in the Zealand atolls. The satellite photos show some suspicious structures here. Oh yeah, that's General Alyssa Cyan. She is in the comic series, and she is the damsel in distress here. Although, we'll get to that later in this episode. But yeah, honestly, this game is just so bright and colorful, and there's just so much going on. I can't stress that enough, folks. It's a very pleasing game, and it's very pleasing to the eyes, very pleasing to the ears, and it's a very fun play experience, you know? And everything about this game is pretty neat in my opinion, including the song. I love this part where it goes da 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 da, and then this part where you gotta beat up this chomper dude over here who's got roadkill in his mouth. I know I wouldn't want to eat no roadkill. Munch this! Now this part I usually like to go ahead and just get damage, take damage, get it over with, because it's very easy to take even more damage, and you shouldn't touch the bombs. She's right, but sometimes you got to. I'll be alright. And gotta take out those bombs there too. Now, I will admit, this is one of my favorite songs in the game. Even though the entire soundtrack, in my opinion, is 10 out of 10, this is definitely up there, and it's one of my go-tos whenever I'm listening to this on the treadmill. As whenever I'm working out, I do an hour of cardio on the treadmill every day, so I gotta keep myself busy. I gotta keep myself focused with some good music, and I don't care what people say. Video game music is legitimate music. I've been hearing that kind of crap my entire life from people that don't understand video games. It's real music. This is obviously real music. I mean, anything with a good beat, anything that's any kind of expression or art that has a good groove and is made with anything that is meant to be an instrument, it's music. I mean, you can't deny these songs are absolute jams if you listen to the soundtrack. Ooh, take a little bit of lava damage. Ooh, this is a good song too. I love this. For some reason, I really like this section where I got to deal with these green enemies here. I don't know what they're called, but I like having to battle them. And then they say random stuff like Friak and Pika and Raghi. None of it makes any sense. And set to this song, I mean, this song's really good too. Definitely replenish my health. Got to deal with these scorpion-like enemies. I think they're scorpions. Of course, I can do little spin rolls, kind of like Sonic rolling into a ball. Now, I don't like dealing with the green enemy dude here because it's kind of an annoyance, but aw man, I missed my chance to throw a bomb at him. See, that's the best way to take him out because it'll immediately take him out, but oh well. But man, this song kicks it. I mean, just listen to these grooves. Hang on. Listen to this part here. Well, you can't really hear it, so never mind. It's got that distinctive Genesis twang to it. It's Genesis twang done right. It's one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard on the Sega Genesis. I would dare to say it's even better than some of the Sonic soundtracks, and most of those weren't even done on the Gem Sound Driver. Now, if I had Roadkill here, I could just flip that tiny switch on the left. But since I don't, I had to punch those boards. But it doesn't matter, because I get to the next part of the next page. And just keep this party rolling on to the grave shipyard. Spooky stuff. Now, there's some goods down there, And if I was daring enough for this playthrough, I could get one of those, but I'm not going to chance it because there's bombs down there too, and I'm not going to trigger those friggin' bombs and get a death in this playthrough. I seem to be going for a perfect run in this playthrough, which is surprising considering how easy it is to get killed over anything in this game, just about. It's easy to run out of health. But the better you get at this game, the easier it is to get through it quickly, and the easier it is to make it through without losing a bunch of health and losing a lot of lives. But I can assure you it was not an easy road here, folks, because this is a very difficult game for beginners. I know a lot of people were put off by this game due to its immense difficulty. Personally, at first I was like, yeah, that's a really difficult game, but I was incredibly intrigued by it, and then the soundtrack drew me in, and then just the visuals, and it's an incredible game. Definitely a top quality, top shelf Sega Genesis game. It should not be overlooked. Unfortunately, there's not really much media for this game either, since it didn't really sell well. There is a commercial out there that's kind of bizarre. It's like a family sitting down to... It doesn't make any sense, really. But there's also a really cool thing at the end. Well, not at the end of that, but there's a video out there too that Sega Technical Institute made. I guess it was like to kind of pitch the game, I'm assuming. Though that doesn't make any sense because the original pitch was done in 1992. The game was released in 95, but the original pitch was done in 92 on Amiga products. And it was called Joe Pencil in the Comic Zone. And that looked pretty interesting. But it wasn't... But Joe Pencil eventually became Sketch Turner, and the game was eventually what we know here as Comic Zone. But man, there's just so much to talk about here. I keep jumping off into many different tangents, and there's just... But yeah, there was like a video made... I could probably put that at the end of this without getting copyright struck, I would think. I don't know about the commercial. I won't include the commercial, but I might include a link to the commercial. But I'll probably include the promo video at the end of this. It goes on for like a minute, and it'll fill out this video since this part's kind of short. I mean, I've seen Clement do stuff like that with the Star Fox playthrough. Include the commercials for Star Fox at the end. But yeah, there's a really neat video that I could show off at the end of this. And it's got some interesting prototype footage of the game in it. And it's got a really good song in it that plays. It's not heard in the game or on the soundtrack CD. I assume it's also done by Drawson. It has to be Drawson. I mean, he's a damn good guitar player, so I assume he probably did that. And this soundtrack is definitely the work of a guitarist. Because the Gem Sound Driver, I mean, as twangy as it is and as rough as it is, it definitely kind of is meant to emulate the guitar sound. But yeah, just gonna kick this crate. I got very lucky there. I thought that was gonna be an explosive and that I would have died there, but that was not an explosive, it was health. And it was exactly what I needed to finish out the game, and you'll see that right here, folks. Nuke, ready to launch. Like, what's my part in this? Hey, it's Alyssa. And as we mentioned, the whole damsel in distress thing, you're gonna see what I meant by that. I love that part. Man, this soundtrack, it slaps. I don't care, it slaps so much. But yeah, there's a nuke here that apparently is going to blow up the comic book, and Alyssa's been captured and put in that nuke, and apparently it's going to fill up with liquid as she says that she's drowning. But yeah, now I gotta defeat Mortis, who actually goes down pretty easily once you know what to do. That switch on the far right of the page, you gotta get him to go to the bottom of the page, and then just flick the switch anytime he goes to the bottom of the page. You gotta flick it 5 times, and that will kill him. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. You gotta deal with those bats getting in the way sometimes. But, oh, I love this version of the boss theme. But yeah, So yeah, that's Mortis. I know, right? That was pretty quick. See ya. Hit that switch, rescue Alyssa. No longer a damsel in distress, and the day has been saved. Sketch succeeded. And Alyssa, his heroine, has decided to join him in our world. Oh, I love the slower song. It was a new beginning. And what a beginning it was. Comic Zone became a commercial smash. Sketch's issues sold out on the first day, becoming the best-selling comic book ever. Alyssa Cyan joined the army, soon to become the chief of security for the United States. Roadkill was donated 100 pounds of mozzarella, and when he wasn't sleeping under his pile of Sketch's dirty socks, he spent most of his time exploring the city's new sewage system. And they lived happily together until... And I like how they leave it open for a cliffhanger. But here's the bad ending of the game, folks. You can decide not to rescue Alyssa if that's what you choose. And so let's just dick around here for a minute and let the liquid fill up in the tank and see what happens. And yeah. And then you get the bad ending. Sketch succeeded, Mortis is dead, but so is Alyssa. His comic book destroyed. This is hardly an outcome worth celebrating. Will Sketch unleash the evil once again to relive his adventure? In the hope of a better ending. Happy sketching! I like that. Happy sketching. But yeah, so that's Comix Zone, folks. Man, it's such a short adventure, and that's a shame. I wish this game went on a little bit longer. There's just so much going on here, and there's just so much to talk about in the short amount of time that there is. But this game kicks ass. It's awesome. It's definitely in my top 10 favorite games of all time. But yeah, seeing all these names in the credits, some of them I do recognize for being tied to the Sonic Extreme project that didn't get off the ground, unfortunately. But at least the Sega Technical Institute did give us some pretty decent games. The American team gave us stuff like this, the Ooze, and Sonic Spinball. And while the Ooze isn't my cup of tea, maybe I can give it a chance again one day. But that's for another day. Sonic Spinball is awesome, I love that game. But the Japanese people who worked at Sega Technical Institute, with some of the Americans, did Sonic 2, but then it was all Japanese for Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Although Drawson did do the Sonic and Knuckles theme. And I mean, some of the American team were thanked in the credits for 3 and Knuckles. But yeah, folks, this has been Comix Zone. This has been Fromark of Fromark Plays and the Fromark channel. And this has been a really good game. This has been a really awesome experience. But thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you in whatever it is I do next. See ya!